Hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing the diet update and the daily update. Let's get into it. So, for the diet update, I was 148 pounds. That's 0.3 pounds up. No, sorry, 1.3 pounds up from yesterday. I was curious why I jumped so high. So, I decided to do some research. What I found was that apparently, if you consume a lot of foods that have a high amount of sodium in them, even if you're eating on a caloric deficit and you're exercising to ensure you stay well below the deficit, you will still fluctuate in water weight because your body will retain more water if you're eating salty foods. So, I think that the likely explanation is perhaps I had some foods that had a lot of salt in them, and those foods ended up keeping the moisture. Interesting. Well, moving on. Here are the foods I ate today. In the morning, I had keto nut clusters, a combination of different nuts and seeds, including pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, sliced almonds, walnuts, coconut shavings, which isn't really a nut or a seed, all put together with a coating of dark chocolate. I had 28 grams of that, which was 4 grams of net carbs, and it was very good. Next, I had a cup of coffee. I really liked it. And then, afterwards, I had. What did I have after that? Oh, yes. I had a ham sandwich that used keto bread, black forest ham, cheese, mustard, mayonnaise, and cayenne pepper. It even had tomatoes in it. I really liked that too. I had a side of harvest snaps and another cup of coffee to go with that. Later in the day, I had quite an interesting smorgasbord. First, a microwaved hot dog on top of a keto bun with mustard and mayonnaise. Next, I had a BLT. This used spring mix instead of lettuce, though, so it was more of a BST, I suppose you could say, or BSMT. We'll just go with BLT. After that, I had. What did I have to? Oh, yeah. I had a A&W Zero Sugar root beer. And the last thing I ate today, or I guess drank, was a Cadillac, which had a tablespoon of dark cocoa mix, so no sugar, just pure cocoa powder, 2 tablespoons of half and half. I mixed those two together. Then I had a cup of freshly brewed coffee, 1 espresso shot, mix that together. Because the coffee got cooled by the half and half, I warmed it in the microwave for 30 seconds. Then I put 2 equal packages in there and I mixed that together. And I liked it. It was really good. It definitely tasted very reminiscent of hot cocoa. And I liked it so much I may drink it again as I continue this diet. So that's pretty awesome. And that's pretty much it. The last thing that I had completely was my vitamins. So now that we've covered what was eaten, let's cover what was done to expel energy to ensure that I get down to my desired weight of 145 pounds. Well, I had a 40-minute dedicated walk with my mom around the neighborhood, and after that, I walked around for about 2.5 hours. Well, actually, more like 2 hours with my sister at the mall doing some Christmas shopping. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'd say that's a decent amount of cardio. Well, that concludes the diet update. Let's go on to the daily update. So, today, I woke up at around 8:30. When I woke up, I was greeted by my mom, and I remember that she was taking me out to the back of the yard so we could look at the how it's going. The pavers are looking good. Yeah, she was just showing me the work that my sister and her did after I left for work yesterday, and they looked very nice. Then she showed me a wire that I accidentally blunted off when I was digging a hole for our dearly beloved cat Avery to be put into since he is now departed from us. And she wanted me to order some uh, wire connectors on Amazon since I was the one who caused the accident to fix the wire because the wire is what is used to have the lights outside. So, since I did indeed damage the wire, I took full responsibility and I purchased the connector. After that, I remember my mom wanted me and our family friend to go to church. Our family friend wanted to go to church really bad, and I decided I would um, wet and comb my hair, put on some jeans and a belt because even my jeans are starting to be loose fit now, and we were off. I made sure to bring my journal with me. So we eventually arrived. We had to go to a new location for the church because the previous location had been flooded with water. But this location was just as good, um, if not better, due to the floor not being a carpet, which allowed for the any potential of any water happening to be minimized because the water could just evaporate. Before I could go in listening, I suddenly needed to use the restroom really bad. So I did that, and when I was done, I sat with my mom and our family friend. And as we were listening to the sermon, I was writing down my thoughts in my journal about how my planning of about 2 days ago went, what went well, what could be improved upon. And I was listening a little bit. From what I remember, the sermon was about don't uh, be overcome by the big personalities teaching the Word of God. Just focus on the Word of God because that's what's important. And it doesn't matter who says it as long as it gets to you. That was one of the bigger points that I remember. All right. Well, after the sermon was done and we sang and We greeted the folks at church. We left. I had to push our family friend to their car on their wheelchair because they need a wheelchair to get around now due to the injury on their foot. And I put their wheelchair in the back of the car, and me closed the trunk, and then me and my mom drove in the other car. We left. We eventually arrived home, and we got the wheelchair out, put our family friend in, and drove it back up. And when we arrived, me and my mom decided to have a ham and cheese sandwich with Harvest Snaps while we were watching a Binging with Babish video that was basically about creating the beef Wellington from the SpongeBob episode where Squilliam is going to the Krusty Krab, and Squidward doesn't want to be made an embarrassment of himself, so he decides to make it look like a 5-star restaurant, even though he's completely incompetent at it. And funnily enough, getting SpongeBob to be reprogrammed to learn about what it means to be great at fine dining and breathing makes the restaurant a 5-star gig that anyone can attend to and have a good time at if they are of the upper crust. So, yeah, and one of the food items that was being given was by SpongeBob to Squilliam, and it was a beef Wellington. It wasn't called a beef Wellington in the show; it was called something else, but it looks like a beef Wellington. Now, the thing that the guy in the thing that Babish needed to do, though, was to make it vegan. And the reason why is because apparently Steven Hillenburg was vegan. So Babish basically wanted to make the food he was developing vegan in respect of Steven Hillenburg, which I respect. That's a sweet and nice gesture to make. And he went through different processes of trying to make his own from scratch at home vegan meat, and every single attempt failed horribly because it ultimately just was gross. The final thing they did to try to make it like decent was that they got Impossible meat ground beef, and they formed that around a tofu bone, and they created some type of special covering over the Wellington, and they baked that. And they said that ultimately, if they had to eat anything vegan, it would be that, and it was the closest thing they had to something that was approximate to a beef Wellington. It looked kind of weird, but at the same time, it was the most edible looking out of all of the previous vegan Wellingtons that he made. So it was, yeah, pretty good. Well, after watching that, I wanted to go on a 40-minute walk. I invited my mom, and so we both agreed to go on the 40-minute walk. As we're walking, we were just discussing and having a good time, enjoying each other's company. When we arrived, my mom was feeling tired, so she went to rest. I decided I would go to the mall later today to do some Christmas shopping. And I invited my sister to come along with me, and she agreed. And I said we would be doing it in an hour. So I went into my room, and as the hour was approaching, I decided to work on my Infinite Jest animatic. I was able to get about 3 frames done, and overall, 3.5 frames. It was basically a rotating shot where the camera is pointing at the school deans and then moves across the table to show reveal our main character for the first time, Howlin' Cadenza. So yeah, that was done. It took an hour and looks pretty rudimentary, but it was fun to work on, which I think is the most important thing. When the time came to leave, um, my sister notified me, and we left. I made sure to say goodbye to my mom and our family friend, and that we would be out for 2 hours. So, me and my sister left, and we arrived at the mall, and we were just perusing, looking around. The first stop we had was Toys R Us. We decided to go in just because we were surprised that Toys R Us is still even open, because I'm pretty sure Toys R Us went bankrupt in like the late 2010s or early 2010s, but apparently it's somehow still alive. It was like seeing a Blockbuster in the modern era, like you just don't expect seeing something like that there, but it's there. You just assume that everyone now just goes on Fortnite and you buys V-Bucks for skins, but apparently people like still playing with physical toys or figurines. But then one of the weird things that we noticed was that some of the figurines were like of old movies. Like there was an Andre the Giant figurine from the movie Princess Bride, which confused me because that movie's from like the mid 80s, and I don't really think there's like any kids nowadays who would be into the Princess Bride. Like that definitely feels like a toy that's made exclusively for like Gen Xers and millennials. Very odd. Um, and then there was like dinosaur toy figurines. I guess there's a group of collectors out there who are just huge fans of the TV show Dinosaurs. It was a really odd product for a show that I don't really know if it has that big of a fan base, anyways. But anyways, yeah. And then there was like other things that was like kind of weird and cringe. Like there was like a Gen Z slang, and all of the slang that was on the back of the box was like basically like didn't sound like something that my generation would ever say. It sounded like it was made up by an out of touch 50-year-old businessman who is trying to make a product that he thinks will appeal to an audience, but ultimately it will appeal to nobody because of just how out of touch and cringy it is. Yeah, if you're going to try to appeal to an audience, do your research. Try to understand what a generation finds appealing. Don't just come up with a bunch of cheap quips that don't sound like anything a real human would say and parade that as something that people would legitimately enjoy. It comes off as out of touch. But yeah, moving on. After a little peruse around the Toys R Us, we left and we were just walking around, and we were going through different stores. We went through like a Hot Topic, didn't really find anything appealing in there. Went through a store that looked like one of those boutique kind of places with like a liminal space looking like interior with like big wide open like stretches of like floors with like clothes that's loosely like decorating each of the walls, and it looked like it was trying to be fancy, but then when we looked at what materials that was being made of, it was like being made of polyester, which is like plastic. And the weird thing was that like some of these items were like $130 for polyester. And I thought, why would anyone spend $130 on something that they're probably going to wear at most like 2 or 3 times? And then they're going to just send it to a Goodwill when they realize that they haven't worn in years, and then it gets sold for like $30. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're really only paying that price to keep the store open. You're not really paying for the actual product. You're you're paying for the stores renting the space that they're in the mall. It's kind of sad, but I guess that's the state things are in right now. After that, we kept on walking through, and we went into a Macy's, and we were just walking around. There was like a lady who gave us some perfume and smelt it, and yeah, it smelled. I mean, I'm not a perfume connoisseur, so I don't know if it was the best ever or if it was the worst ever. I just know it was perfume. And yeah, we were discussing what would make for good ideas for the family members, or my family members. And then eventually we decided to target certain places. So we went to those places. And in case any of my family members are watching, I will keep everything a secret right now because, that's going to spoil it, won't it? So I'm just going to cut out from here all the way to around the end of our store visit. So we left the mall, and when we got out, I needed to use the restroom, so we found uh, a open restaurant that allowed to use the restroom. So I went there. Luckily, it was vacant. Did what I needed to do left, and my sister drove us home. And when we arrived, I put everything away, and after that, I was pretty hungry. My sister was hungry. My sister made a Black Forest ham sandwich. I decided to make a hot dog because I found a hot dog in the fridge. It looks like it was the last one. After I was done eating that and I was drinking the A&W, which I didn't finish because I wanted to eat something else with it because the hot dog didn't fill me up. I opened the fridge and found some bacon, and I decided I would have a BLT. Funny thing was there was another fresh pack of hot dogs that was next to the bacon. So, I mean, I thought to myself, I could have just made 2 hot dogs and eaten those and been good, but I didn't see it, so I guess I'm having a BLT now. So, I made it, fried the bacon, put mayonnaise on the bread with the mustard. It was keto bread, of course, and cayenne pepper and spring mix, and I even put some Mexican cheese on there instead of cheddar because I thought that would make for a more interesting flavor, and tomatoes. I had to slice a tomato in 4 slices and put the rest in a plastic bag to be used later. Zipped that, put it away, and I used, yeah, and I put it all together and decided to go out into the front room. I was originally planning on watching the Digital Foundry video about best graphics of the year. My sister was there though, and I thought, well, that's kind of something that only I would be interested in. How about we instead watch something that we both are interested in, since we're both in the room at the same time? So a new Papa Meat video had dropped about sports gambling, so I suggested, hey, how about that? She asked me how long. I said 22 minutes. She said, let's do it. So we watched that. And yeah, it was pretty funny, but also pretty sad too. It basically just goes to show that corporations will stop at nothing to commodify anything. And basically take something that you could just get intrinsic joy and value out of simply by just experiencing it, and putting gambling and a price tag on it to completely ruin the purity of the enjoyment. So now it's no longer about like, just watching sports and having a good time. Now it's dumping your entire life savings into a putting stock behind a certain sports team so you could potentially walk away with thousands upon thousands of dollars. And I mean, I understand the appeal because people like quick wins and making easy money without doing much work. And it especially helps if it's something they're already interested in, like sports. But at the same time, that creates a nasty, you know, side effect where you're no longer enjoying the sport for what it is. You're enjoying it more as just a vehicle to make you more money, which basically makes it commodified and less of just something that is intrinsically valuable. Now it's extrinsically valuable. And yeah, I mean, I understand like everybody needs money, but at the same time, it's very predatory, and it, especially when it's gambling, it basically is just you know preying on people's lack of self-control and ability to say no to something to make a lot of money, and it's very sad. But after we were done watching that, I decided I wanted a Cadillac, but of course I needed to make it keto friendly. So I decided to ask Google Gemini for a recipe. It suggested 1 tablespoon of cacao powder, 2 tablespoons of half and half, and it said sugar, 1 tablespoon of sugar. Of course, I can't have sugar right now because I'm on the keto diet. But I decided to ask if I could use equal instead. It said that Gemini said that equal was not as heat resistant as sugar. So the best thing you could do is to mix the half and half and the chocolate together and the cocoa powder. And then put the coffee in, brew the coffee over it, mix that, and then once it got to a sufficeable temperature, then pour the equal in there as much as you need to the desired sweetness. So that's exactly what I did. And of course, because the half and half cooled down the coffee, I needed to microwave it to warm it up again. But when I warmed it up, I poured another package of equal in there. So I had 2 equals and I mixed it up. And when I drank it, I was honestly surprised. It was actually quite good. Tasted very similar to milk chocolate, hot chocolate. So yeah, I liked that a lot. It was really good. Then after that, I decided to watch a video from a up-and-coming YouTuber who's been getting millions of views already. Man, I don't remember what his name was, but he's got like sort of long hair. He has like a depressed, unimpressed expression on his face, and he's got like a mustache, and he's got glasses on, and apparently he did the video with his brother, and it was a video about how there's not really a dedicated Christmas game. There's really only like Christmas skins for online multiplayer games or Christmas themes for games that already have set clocks like Animal Crossing. But in terms of a game that is set on Christmas, not really at all. So I just thought that is kind of interesting. The closest thing you get is games based on movies that are set on Christmas. So yeah. It was a really interesting video. I find it interesting because normally the videos the guy makes are like where he's like out and about in the real world, like, interacting with people. Like he made a Las Vegas Sphere episode, and he made a Apple Vision Pro episode, and he made a Morpheus episode. But he has not made. I mean, I haven't really seen many videos where he's made just where he's talking to the camera with a green screen behind him and just going into depth and entertainment kind of videos. So other than, I guess, well, I mean, it goes in depth and entertainment, but what I mean is like just static production value in terms of like the live action portions. The actual edited, footage is good enough, but it's solid. It's really good. But when it comes to like the footage being more dynamic, it's not as dynamic as his previous videos, which I thought was interesting. It was still a very funny video, though. I really liked it. My sister would walk in it every now and then because she would wander outside, do something, and then go back in and make a comment about, oh, those are some funny guys. It's like, yeah, they're pretty funny. Then my sister left to be with her friends, and so I decided to watch another video from the same duo of brothers about Shrek video games. And I got halfway in it till I needed to use the restroom. Once I used the restroom, my mom and family friend returned. They went to a Christmas feast for the church while me and my sister were out shopping. And they were in need of my help getting the wheelchair out. So I got the wheelchair out. And yeah, when we got inside, my mom wanted me to work on editing our funeral video for our cat Avery, who is no longer with us. I said that I was very tired from the shopping. I didn't want to do it. It was 9 p.m. at the time, and I'd rather do it tomorrow morning when I'm full of energy. So she said, "Oh, all right." And then I took my vitamins. I brushed my teeth, and I'm making this update video. Yeah. So yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be working on the Avery funeral video. And I go to work tomorrow from 1 to 10. So yeah, I need to wake up early because my mom wants to be involved in making the video with me. So I need to get up by like, it would be ideal to get up by 6 a.m. because I'm sure that would give us a good 3 hours to make as good of a quality video as we can for our cat. So that's what I'm gonna do. That's why I'm making this video a little earlier than usual. So I can go to bed and then get up earlier. Shopping and walking around the store and deciding on what gifts to get really exhausted me, and I just didn't really have it in me to work on the video. And if I'm going to work in this video, I want to be there 100%, not 50%, not 25%. I want to be there 100%. So that's why I decided to push editing the video all the way to in the morning time. So, yeah. All right, I better go to bed now. So, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night, and take care. See you in the next one.